Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at United Health. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been focusing mainly on the green scenario, at least on the large time frame, where we have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and then another 1-2 setup, and then this would be our third wave up, and then the fourth wave to the downside that is probably still ongoing, but within which we expect to find support somewhere in the area between $260 down to around $96 level at the 50% retracement. Now, if we actually break below the 50% retracement level, we do have some fallback interpretation where we could still track this movement to the upside, but it would become pretty difficult for this chart to still produce a nice reaction and still create and sustain this nice movement that has developed so far. Now, we did here in the midterm already reach this green support zone within the wave 4 in green here, but based on the expectations in terms in which it reached this level, we still expect currently that if we push higher, we are only forming a B wave to the upside, which we expect to find resistance from $342 up to around $510 level, and then create still another movement to the downside that will most likely reset this wave 4 and get below the A wave low here, and produce a new low basically. Now here in this area we have been tracking mainly two scenarios, and firstly we have the orange scenario, which doesn't seem to be playing out at the moment, but here we would have an A wave down, and then this would be a B wave up, and then the C wave to the downside that should still continue. If we break above this B wave high in orange, we are actually probably going to need to dismiss completely the orange interpretation here and rather follow the white scenario, because in the C wave we need to complete 5 waves, and here in this movement to the downside we so far only completed an ABC pattern in 3 waves, so we would need it to form rather a 1-2 here, and then continue with the third wave to the downside, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then we could follow the orange scenario, in which we could even consider that this fourth wave actually completed here. But since we formed only 3 waves to the downside here in this movement, we are rather tracking the white scenario, in which we are looking here at the 5 wave move to the downside in a leading diagonal in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would be instead an A wave to the downside, and then now we could very well already be in a B wave up and then continue lower in the C wave, as I said earlier. So far within this A wave we could consider it complete. We do have the necessary degrees of waves complete, but it could also extend. Even in the white scenario we could still see further downside in this area directly, where this, instead of being the 5th wave or the entire 5th wave, it would instead be an A, B, C pattern that is developing. So we would still know if we are developing the white scenario or the orange scenario, because then this movement to the downside would end with one single 5 wave move, whereas in the orange scenario we would be looking for this movement and then a correction and then another movement to the downside to actually complete it. Now, since we are mainly tracking the white scenario, we can only confirm that we are within the B wave here once we actually break above the $326.5 level, which I marked here with this dashed line in white, which would also be the B wave, the wave 4 top in white in this area. We do have a resistance area as well here, where we formed at least some sort of local tops momentarily, where we got strongly rejected after each of them, and in this case, after this wave 4 top, we pushed quite strongly to the downside. So we do expect some headwinds in that area. Now here in the shorter time frame, in this movement to the upside, we have been tracking two main scenarios. And firstly, we have the white scenario, in which we are tracking an impulse to the upside in an A wave, where we would be looking here at the wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and then another 1-2 setup, and then this would be another 1-2, and another 1-2, then this would be the third wave, this would be the fourth wave that pushed a little lower since the previous video, and now we would already be in our first fifth wave to the upside, which could very well reach the red resistance area. Then we have also the yellow scenario, in which we are tracking instead a leading diagonal in an A wave, where we are looking here at the wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, then this entire move would be the third wave, where it would be an ABC. I could easily consider it as an ABC in this way, and then this would be the fourth wave that could still even be ongoing. Now, based on how long it actually took this wave 4 to develop in this area, I have to say that if we push even lower, so if we follow rather this ABC idea, I would have to consider that we are instead following the yellow interpretation, which is why I am changing the colors for this movement, because yeah, it dragged on for quite a while, this fourth wave, and if this completed here, I am completely fine with tracking it in the white scenario. But if we are forming here a larger ABC, then I would have to pair this wave 4 rather with this wave 2 movement instead of any of these that developed here, and I wouldn't really have a different way to count it in that case. Now, sometimes I suppose it could be fine to have much larger wave 4s, but well, it is a little bit unlikely. Now, so far here in this area, we formed a 5-wave move here to the downside, but then we still also formed one to the upside that very well could be considered a 5-wave move. So we have to be prepared for both scenarios, but as I said, if we break the previous low here, that would be considered the fourth wave in white. Even if we hold the below support to the 50% retracement in white, I would rather consider that the yellow scenario is playing out, and that's what I will mostly focus on. But as long as we have this 1-2 setup that holds, we can still be looking for direct higher in the white interpretation, and we can even look for a support zone here, where I would be looking to hold this wave 2 in the area between $305 or so, down to around $299 level. And if we break below it, it is still fine. I can still track this wave 2. The formal invalidation and complete invalidation would be a break below this level. But for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.